Hello, this is Steve, your YouTube English teacher, with our third in this series of videos focusing on use of English, going from B1 to C2, starting easy, getting difficult, getting native. How do you even do that kind of difficulty? So let's get into this word formation. This is not actually on the B1 exam, it only starts at B2, but I'm trying to think of the most simple thing you might have for use of English Part 3 that you should be able to have a go at a B1 level would probably be making negatives, because there's not that many options in English for making negatives, are there? We can only add un, in, or dis. When do we use each one? You just have to know. I wish there was a rule, but I mean, maybe there's some kind of rule about Greek word, Latin word, but I don't have a clear rule, unfortunately. What a bad teacher I am. So you've got un, in, or dis to make negatives, or occasionally if the word starts with a P, then we've got impolite. If the word starts with an R, we're going to double the consonant, and the same for an L, we double the consonant. So we do have some rules for these negatives, and we're keeping it fairly simple because I'm expecting a B1 student to be able to have a go at these kind of questions. So pause the video and write your words. Do I need to recap use of English Part 3? You transform the word that is given for each sentence so that it fits the sentence. For example, number 1, a job that pays a lot of money, you didn't accept it. I don't understand. I don't see clearly why you didn't accept it. All right, you've done all of them now, so we're going to look at all the answers. It's unclear. The negative is unclear. Why is it not unclear? It just isn't, right? Unclear sounds better. Because that's the word, that's why it sounds better, and you have to know that even at B1. Number 2, something is incomplete. This one maybe is the same as a Latin language, so if you speak a Latin language, or even other European languages, maybe it's similar in your language, so we can see that in just sounds better. Number 3, you are dishonest. Number 4, now we can start to see some of the rules: possible, impossible, responsible, irresponsible, and legal, illegal. You can't take scooters on the train anymore. That's unfortunately the world we live in. We need to improve battery technology or invent some kind of fire extinguishing device. Anyway, so that's what we'd need to know for use of English Part 3 at a B1 level. A bit easier. Keep this in mind, because at the end of the video, we're going to have an exam where we go from B1 to C2 for use of English Part 3, from easy to extremely difficult. For B2, something that I see tested quite a lot is plurals. So in this part of the exam, yes, you need to transform the word, but what I see a lot is that students forget to put the S on when you transform it, because that is also part of the transformation. Plurals are very easy in English, right? You just put an S on the end. The only irregular plurals are children, men, women, oxen, fish, sheep. There are not that many, and they're not going to be on use of English Part 3. Here on use of English Part 3, all you need to do is make sure you put an S on when you have to do it, because the sentence needs a plural. And you can see in my clues, they will give you the clue if a plural is needed. If it says they were, they have, they is plural. Context of a sentence, there's no article, there are keywords like several, or if the noun that we're talking about is uncountable, then it's going to be the plural, depending on how we use it, right? Singular or plural. Normally singular. Now I say that. If I think back to the rules that I was trying to make here, uncountable is plural, is single, isn't it? The food was good, the water was dirty, and so on. It's an uncountable noun. Anyway, here are the answers to these questions, which I'm sure you've done by now because you paused the video and skipped over my explanations. Number 1, we are talking about scientists. They have found a gene. Number 2, one of the most important inventions. This structure needs a plural because we're imagining lots of inventions, and then we're saying, well, one of these inventions that was very important was the chariot. Number 3, my first impression. You've only got one first impression. Number 4, criticism is uncountable. So singular, criticism. And number 5, the east entrance. There's only one entrance by the east. We're referring to this one where we're going to meet. And number 6, I think argument sounds better. Well, it does sound better, doesn't it? Because you can't say argument because it doesn't say an argument. There's no article. And it's both sides, so it's 2 arguments. So there we go. That's how we use our plurals. And of course, you're still learning other nice use of English Part 3 transformations like science. People who do science are scientists, and so on. When we get to C1, a common trick is to be testing adverbs. So how do we make adverbs in English? Well, most of the time we start with the adjective and we add ly, or maybe we add a little bit more depending on the rule. But as you can see, these are the more simple transformations. Then we can get more difficult, because to get to the adjective, we might need to start with the noun. They give us the noun, we get to the adjective. We might even have to make it negative. So I've divided these up into the amount of steps you have to take, which is a common thing at C1, having to take more than one step. Anyway, I'll pause the video and you will look at the answers, and then you will take some notes, as we always do. And we've got number 1, shortly, meaning in a short time, briefly. And number 2, specifically. If the word ends in IC, it becomes ically, magically, automatically, and so on. Number 3, peace is a noun. World peace. We want world peace. Make peace, and so on. Well, peace becomes peaceful, becomes peacefully. How was the baby sleeping? Peacefully. And number 4, to stun is a verb, which means to shock or surprise. So you were looking stunning, as in you were surprising everyone with how handsome you were. How handsome were you? Stunningly handsome, with a double N, because of the rules of doubling consonants. We have consonant, vowel, consonant, and we have the stress on this syllable because it's only one syllable. So we double the N. And finally, Ireland is the Emerald Isle. It's always green because it rains a lot. So it's not a surprise when it rains a lot. So unsurprisingly, it rained in Ireland. And number 6, she was told off. Well, if you get told off, you're doing something bad. You are speaking disrespectfully. The other thing we have on this important slide is other common part 3 words for C1, such as measurement words, succeed, success, approve, approval, consider, considerable, predict, unpredictable, and so on, which you should also learn. Let's move on to C2. And this is the fun part, because here, I wish I could say, here are the rules for C2. But at C2, you are going to have a lot of random irregular transformations, words that you just have to know how to transform them because they sound good in the sentence. Pause the video and try and answer these. If you get these, well, maybe you don't need to be watching my videos anymore because you're ready for the exam, because these are the height of difficulty for Use of English Part 3. Here come the answers. Isaac Newton, of course, did this by himself, so he single-handedly invented physics. The view would be breathtaking, which can have a hyphen or not. What shapes your personality? Your upbringing. There's no designated parking, as in it's not designated, it's not been assigned, given out. And the adjective from school is scholarly. A scholar is a person who, works with academic things, so scholarly becomes the adjective. And the inner workings of a child's mind means the interior, but you can't say interior because the expression is inner workings. There are some patterns that you see on the C2 exam for Use of English Part 3, such as words that end in dom, kingdom, boredom, hood, enable, empower, embed, imprison, I just saw today when I was doing another C2 thing. Outnumber, ownership, membership. You can see they're all a little bit more irregular than the ones you see. Less simple Latin words like we might get, produce, product, production at B2 and even C1. Now we're getting slightly more esoteric words. But you've practiced plenty. Can you do this exam from B1 to C2? Another interest of mine, as I said in previous videos, I'm sharing my interest with my students so they get to know me, so they're more motivated to be in my class. One thing I love is going for runs early in the morning, especially since we've had the 2 babies and this is the only time I can run now because the rest of the day I'm looking after them. Or they are sleeping now at 3 p.m. and I'm not going for a run at 3 p.m. in southern Spain. So I'm running in the morning and I've written a text about it, which goes from B1 in orange down to B2, C1, C2, Use of English Part 3, transform these words. Pause the video, see how you do. You should be curious to find out. I'm going to explain the answers now as you continue taking notes and learning useful information for your Cambridge Use of English Part 3. Number 1, an alarm would be unwelcome, right? The negative of welcome is unwelcome. And I can't run in the afternoon. It's impractical. The P tells us that we need impractical, as we learned in our first lesson. Number 3, here we're going to have some plurals, aren't we? Be careful with our plurals. I've seen big improvements because there's no article. And the professionals agree. They agree. This is third person plural. I've written professionals horribly there, but you get the answer. You know how to write professionals, don't you? ALS. Sorry for my typo. Number 5, the world is remarkably quiet. That's an adverb. And number 6, unfortunately, after the run, you still have to go to work. Number 7, what kind of people go to a running club? People who can get together, people who have similar interests, people who are like-minded. Get rid of that second bracket. And number 8, you are going accompanied by other early risers. You are accompanied by them from company. How did you do? I'm curious to know. And I hope that you have learned plenty for Use of English Part 3 from B1 to C2. Goodbye.